Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to Making Connections, everyone. This is your girl, Aly. I hope everybody is having a wonderful day. Y'all know I get excited about Saturdays and Mondays because I get to hang out with somebody new or even talk to an old friend, and that would be you all. So, thank you for joining us today. As you see, when we usually open the show, we have a lot of flyers going by about community events, things that are happening. Maybe you need help with something. And so a lot of those organizations are helping people. Maybe you just have some time and you want to help someone. Contact those organizations and just see how you can fit in and be a part. And so, good morning or good afternoon, Josiah.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I am wonderful. I am wonderful. It is early Saturday, but I'm doing good.
Yeah. Josiah is in a different time zone, so it's early for
Yeah.
her. But we thank you for getting up and joining us. And so, before we get started, I just want to give you an opportunity just to introduce yourself a little bit, and then we'll jump into this wonderful conversation.
Awesome. So like I mentioned a little bit ago, I need my glasses on. So if I'm squinting, please forgive me. I'm trying to actually see us. So my name is Josiah. I am a teacher. Basically, I teach mindfulness, which is really the practice of being present with what is, exactly as it is without needing it to be different. And then from that place of calm and clear perspective and acceptance, we can make decisions that allow us to get in the place that we want to be or need to be if we happen to be out of place, out of balance. And so I teach mindfulness using refraining techniques typically. So that would be silence, stillness, fasting, and waist bead wearing. So what you see behind me are waist beads, which are basically an ancient African technology. So it really helps people be present in their bodies, drop down in their bodies, and hold intentions for themselves and for their lives. So that's me.
All right, all right. Well, again, welcome to Making Connections, and I'm just, excited to learn more because, I think now we hear a lot that word mindfulness, but I don't think a lot of people are telling us exactly what that means. And so, I heard what you said was just being present in the moment, accepting where you are, what's happening right now, without having to add or take away. Is that right? Is that what I, is that? Did I hear that correctly?
You did indeed. Basically, there's a saying that sort of drops people into the express meaning and experience of mindfulness, which is to be where your feet are. So if I give you the instruction to be where your feet are, first you have to find your feet. You have to literally go to the place where your feet are on your body and really inhabit your feet. And when you do that, you understand, oh, this is the actual moment I'm in. This where my feet are is actually where I am. And the interesting and beautiful thing about being where your feet are, bringing yourself back to where your feet are, is you realize that 99.9% of the time, every time you drop down into your body and be where your feet are, everything is fine. And most of the things that are happening to us that are challenging us are happening to us in our heads, in our minds, in our past, in our projected future. And so mindfulness really is the practice of just being here.
Wow. All of that is really major because a lot of times, like you said, I mean, even if you think something is going to happen, you're not really sure. You start thinking about, well, what happened 2 years ago when I tried this or when I went this direction. And it really does take you on a whole path in your head about something that could happen, but maybe not happen.
Maybe never. Maybe never. And the larger challenge is that because our um, bodies don't know whether something is happening for real or happening in our minds, and it just responds in a way that's appropriate for that experience, whether it's mental or actual, then we put a lot of stress and strain on our systems, our actual physical systems. We get a lot of disease and a lot of distress because we don't know how to be in the actual moment we're in, which is typically where we're going to get the peace that we're so desperately looking for.
But are we scared? Why are we scared to be in the moment? Are we scared it's not going to turn out the way we want it? Are we scared we're not going to, live through this moment? What do you think it is that takes us through this whole spiral?
I think it's just programming. I think that we are programmed to be elsewhere, but we can reprogram to be present, which is the beautiful and encouraging thing. I don't think that we are scared consciously. I think that subconsciously we've taken in so many things that are built out of and on fear that when a moment comes up, our memory, which is really designed to do exactly what it's doing, is it's reminding us of all the times this thing went wrong. It went wrong in the TV show. It went wrong in the movie. It went wrong in this scene over here that I know personally. It went wrong for the lady at work. So why would it go right for me? The only
Mm.
problem with that is it actually could go right for you. And so, since you're remembering and not being present, you miss all of the signals that would let you make the correct turns, let you say the correct words, because you're not there for it.
Oh, wow. And I mean, yeah, wow. We got to get where our feet are.
We got to be where our feet are.
And because, and the thing about it is, what if it does go wrong? What if it doesn't succeed the first time? I mean, that doesn't mean that you're a failure. That doesn't mean you're not smart. That doesn't mean you're not intuitive. It just means that maybe whatever's happening needs a little tweaking, right?
Yeah, or you needed to learn whatever you learned here so that you can take that information to the next step. Because every great experience is not a one-step process. Most great experiences are not one-step processes. And so we have to be willing to be present for all the steps, understanding that this is an actual journey. That we're not trying to get any one place in particular. We're trying to go where we're going beautifully. We're trying to go where we're going and actually be on the whole ride.
Mm. I know one of my friends, she lives a few states over, and we were just talking about like the weight loss thing and stuff like that, and what we've been through or whatever. And I was just like, you know what? It's nobody's journey, but each one of our journeys. So we just got to enjoy the journey. Whether it's the looking at the clock 3 times before you get up or whatever, you have to find that joy in your journey. You can't criticize yourself. Maybe if you don't even go that day, it's okay.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're still living. There's another day coming, or you can do it in the evening. I think sometimes, a lot of times, like you said, that program, we have even our to do list, and it has to be done. We got to do this at 9 o'clock. We got to be here at 11:45. If we miss this at 1 o'clock, then it's gonna throw everything else off, honey.
And
I
we
mean,
don't leave time for the reality that you cannot program a life. You can't. I mean, you can make plans, which are wonderful, but you
right,
can't program a life like that because then there's no time to experience life.
right. And I mean, you don't know what the traffic is going to be like. You don't know what the weather's going to be like. There's a lot of things that, come in a factor that we have no control over. But
Absolutely. And
we
that
will let those things that we don't have control over control us and our
yes,
emotions.
that is exactly what the practice of mindfulness is. It's saying this is happening right now. That's it. This is happening right now. So be with this because it's not always going to be happening. That is also what we know for absolute sure is that everything changes. So
Mm.
wanting this moment to be a different moment is a waste of energy. It's going to make you more tired. It's going to make you more frustrated. It's going to make you more confused. Be with this moment because it will pass. And everything that you were supposed to learn in this moment will also be with you when you exit it.
And I like that part. We have to remember there's something we're learning here. There's something we're gaining here, whether it's patience, experience, knowledge, whatever it is. There's something in where we are right now
Absolutely.
that's
Absolutely.
going to help us in the next moment, in the next year, in the next time frame, right?
Absolutely.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So I know are you're an author too, is that correct?
I am an author. So one of the refraining techniques that I have practiced for over a decade and that I hold space for is fasting. So I wrote a book called The New Fast Girls, and it really is a story of my journey of discovering fasting and the support that it became for me. And then I just talk really briefly about some of the biological and psychological and spiritual effects of taking up a sunrise to sunrise fast, which is the fast that we participate in. So basically, it means that we have no food from sunrise on Monday until sunrise on Tuesday. We drink water. Typically, you want to drink your weight in ounces of water, because while your body is fasting, it's also sort of sloughing off all the things that it doesn't need, and you want some transport out of your body for those things. You don't want them to just be reabsorbed into your system. So we have no food and we drink water, from one morning to the next morning. And then we just sort of listen. We listen to what our mind tries to do when we say we're going to get in charge of ourselves. And we notice that. We notice, like, oh, when I decide I'm going to do something, my mind thinks it's going to like thwart what I'm telling it. And this
Mm-hmm.
is a practice, fasting particularly is a practice that teaches you that you are not in charge of yourself, and how dangerous it is to not be in charge of yourself. And it gives you an opportunity every single week when we meet the day with the intention to fast. It gives us an opportunity to get in front of ourselves, to practice being in front. Because without that, the part of us that is really running the majority of our lives is probably between 5 and 9 years old. It's just not safe.
Wow.
It's just not safe.
Wow. Now I've never heard that. Now that is something that'll wake you up, right?
Phone it. You don't want no 5 or 9 year old driving you to the grocery store. You certainly don't want them driving your relationships and driving your job choices and driving your food
Yeah.
choices. Like, I'm absolutely not.
Ooh. Look, give me a moment. I'm making notes. Let me tell that 5 to 9 year old. Wait a
Sit
minute. You had
down.
your turn. Now it's
Wait,
my
just
turn.
hold on, sweetheart. Hold on.
I hear what you're saying, but let me handle it.
And this is the thing, and that's one of the really important aspects of the practice of mindfulness, is it teaches us, not only to be present and to be aware, but to be compassionate, because this part of us really has been protecting us for most of our lives. It's been doing the job of warning us and protecting us, and diverting our attention so that things won't be too hard. It's been really working. And so once you realize, oh, well, those tactics aren't really necessary anymore. We don't have to behave in those ways. We don't have to protect in these kinds of ways. There are some higher skill levels that we can sort of implement here.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think you're just going to be like punking yourself or being mean, or that part of us has that kind of behavior on lock. Like, you're not going to win if that's the tactic that you try to employ. And so compassion and kindness, and supporting your habit, the habits that you have, by saying, I get it, I get that this is difficult, but like right here today on fast day, it just can't happen. Tomorrow, who knows? And
Right.
the thing is, if you keep overcoming the urge, the impulse, it lessens.
Yes, yes, yes. And that is a good point too. A lot of times, and I've heard this before, that part of us is our protector.
Yeah.
And so they don't know what's going to happen, but they're reminding you. That's where those thoughts come. They're reminding you, okay, remember the last time you dated somebody like this? Remember the last time you went out on a job opportunity and they said they were going to promise you the world? But at the same time, like you said, we mindful. Okay, that did happen, but this time I did my research.
Right.
This time I've spent more time. This time I know the family dynamics. So I
Exactly.
appreciate you showing up. I appreciate you reminding me, but hey, this time we can go further. This time I want to implement to you a new memory.
Yeah. It is. It's something to trust yourself to have learned a thing or two since the last time, to be more wide awake, to be more present, and not let fear. And it doesn't mean you couldn't be wrong again, because
Right. Right.
you could get a little bit further and realize, oh, well, I didn't see that last time because I didn't even get this far last time. So right here, also no
Right.
good. But you have to give yourself an opportunity to advance the game, and not just keep being at square one every time because you're afraid.
Right. 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 I know I have another friend and we talk about like relationships sometimes, and she's like, I don't want to do this, or what if it doesn't work, or what if he tries to make it. I was like, but what if it does work? I mean,
Right.
it, it's two possibilities here. and
Right.
and if it doesn't, you have to go into it knowing I don't know what's going to happen, and if it
And
doesn't,
I'm going to
I'm
stay
okay.
awake. Like, I'm gonna stay awake. I'm not gonna fall asleep. I'm gonna enter this space, and I'm gonna stay awake here. Because
Mm-hmm.
staying awake, staying present means that if something is here that's no good, I will also be able to see it.
Mm-hmm. And be okay and be like, okay, we're here again. This is not gonna work, but it's okay.
Mhm.
You know, sometimes
Absolutely.
we'll be like, I knew I shouldn't have, I'm
No.
terrible. That no, it's not that. Like you said, it's a new place. We didn't get to this step last time, so we weren't really sure how to conquer it. I mean, let's just talk about it. How many times on the football field and basketball fields do these people go up and down the court? They
The
trying to
same
get that.
court,
Thank you. They go in the same direction, trying to get that ball
the
in that
same
goal.
basket.
And so, but here we're going back this way because somebody stole the ball. But we don't quit in the game. We don't sit down in the game. We won't be like, Coach, I won't play anymore. No, you be determined. You like, that's my ball. We no, we still here to win. So we gotta
Absolutely.
be here to win life. We gotta be here to win, you know, our purpose. We gotta be here to win our joy, our happiness, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
And
tell that's a beautiful analogy that you use, because I my son was a football player in high school and college. And so I would say to him, and I say to a lot of the women I work with now, you will play how you practice. You will. You
mm,
think that you're going to show up in a real moment, in a desperate moment, in a serious moment, in an important moment with all of these extraordinary tools just because they're cognitive. You're not. You're going to do your reactionary, instinctual misbehavior because you haven't practiced doing anything else. You
mm,
will play the game. Come game time, whatever your practice looks like, that's what your game's going to look like. So all of this, all of these things that we are consuming, because now we've become spiritual consumers. Like, we just buy every book and we go to every seminar and we hit, and there's no practice. Nobody's practicing stopping. So then when they're in the conversation and they can't stop themselves, they're like, oh, well, I knew I should have stopped. But you don't ever practice stopping. That we
wow,
have to practice stopping anything, something, or we're not going to have any breaks.
wow. And you are right, because honey, that used to be me. I'd be like, oh, especially like when COVID first hit and I was working from home. I mean, everybody was having webinars and seminars, and I was trying to get on everything, and I was like, you driving yourself crazy trying to get all this information. Hold on, wait a
Just
minute.
stop.
Let's pick
Stop.
like one or two people and go with that flow so that, like you said, we can implement what we're learning.
Yes.
You're just jumping from here to here getting information. You don't have time to implement. I even say that about church. We go to church, go to church. I mean, we there 7 days a week, but when do we have time to be out in the neighborhoods and
To
ministering to
see if
people
what we're
and
learning, yeah, to see
right,
if what we're
right.
learning is working.
And don't get me wrong, don't y'all write me. I love church, and y'all know, but we got a job to do. I mean, but we can't just do it behind the walls because some
Mhm.
people are never gonna get into those walls. So we got to be able to, when we meet them out on the streets in the grocery store, we got to be able to be where we need to be to impart into them, or them even just see the joy on our lives. See how we thank God and how we're grateful for
Absolutely.
whatever situation we're in.
Absolutely.
Mm, mm, mm. So tell me about this frame. Is it framing you said, or reframing?
Oh, reframing. So reframing is all about, and we're talking about language here. Is that
Yes, yes. So I can just understand what it means. Yeah.
so reframing is all about, so much of, again, back to the program, so much of how we are, so much of how we behave, so much of how we think is a programmed set of information that comes from, of course, our families, our upbringing, whatever TV we watched when we were kids, church, school, whatever our inputs were, our influences were when we were, again, very, very young to maybe 10 years old. That is how we got to how we speak, how we think, how we interact. So sometimes when we're trying to relearn, retrain ourselves, we have to reframe how we think and speak. So sometimes somebody will say to me, oh my God, I cannot be late for work. I'm like, well, you're probably going to be late for work though, because you're focusing on being late for work.
Wow.
So why don't you say the thing you want to be true? because this is how all of this is getting made. Every experience of your life is getting made based on what you say, based on what you think, based on
Mhm.
how you vibrate. So I don't want to necessarily talk about things as they seem in the present. I don't want to say, she's always talking about me and rolling her eyes at me every time I come into the office. Unless I want that to be true, that's not what I'm going to say.
Mhm.
I'm going to say, you know what, when I come into the office, I feel peaceful. I go right to my desk and I'm able to see everything I need to do and get it done and be cool. Because I only want to
Wow.
speak to the things that I want to see, manifest, that I want to be true. I'm not interested in the things that I'm not interested in. Why would I be giving energy, time, focus, interest to things I don't even want to exist? Unless I do. And that's the thing. So sometimes we are saying words because the energy that it gives back to us when it becomes manifest, that makes us feel alive. That makes us feel present. That makes us feel
Mhm.
right. See, I told you she was going to roll her eyes and say something funny to me.
Oh, wow.
But you said that, which means you made that. Why wouldn't you say something else? And when you bring this to people, it's really interesting to watch them have a very difficult time saying the positive thing because they realize, oh, I have some kind of attachment to the
Mhm.
truth of or the experience of this negative thing. So it really, you got to just keep, again, practicing reframing. Because until you start practicing that, you don't even know how negative your speech is. You don't
Man.
even know how many challenging experiences you're calling to yourself simply by speaking to them.
Mhm. Lord, I'm just taking notes. I mean, it's sometimes, and I say this on the show several times. Sometimes I just even in the show when I'm with somebody, I just need a moment just to be like. But I'm like, okay, let's keep going so people don't think I'm crazy. But I mean, I'm really taking in, what's being said because I mean, I might be hosting the show, but I'm a person too. I'm
A
trying to
real
get
person.
there too. And so that's the importance of this show and making connections and people hearing things because we've heard so much of the other stuff. It's time for us to know that there's reframing we can do. There's reprogramming we can do. There's overcoming that we can do. We have that ability. We don't
Absolutely.
have to accept what other people say about us. What dreams do you have for your life? What visions are you seeing in the middle of the night that nobody else sees? You
Because
know,
they're for you, they're
yeah.
yours. And really, so much of this practice allows us to be strong enough to just go with where we're supposed to go with what we know, not where, and be encouraging to other people that if something is for you, follow that. But be clear that I'm going to follow what is being given and gifted to me.
hmm And in that, if this is the path you've been shown and this is the path I've been shown, it doesn't make it doesn't mean that I don't love you, I don't support you. I
Right.
mean, it's just we're on a different path, but let's support each other where we are.
Absolutely.
And I
And
think a lot of
again,
times,
we haven't even been taught that. It's very strange that we have been given this kind of idea that unless somebody is doing what we think they should be doing, they're doing the wrong thing.
yes, Lord.
Well, no. Like how could you even know that for another person? I can't know what is the right thing for anybody else. Listen, we have a hard enough time figuring out what the right thing is for us.
That
to
part.
imagine, to imagine that you could know positively based on your life and your experiences what's going to be best for somebody else is absurd. It's absurd on its face. Except that we spend all of our energy encouraging people to do what we think they should do, and so much of what we're supposed to be doing is left undone.
It's that part right there for me.
It's the left undone personal business.
Right. I be
Because
like,
there's this quote that says if you there no there are three kinds of business: your business, other people's business, and God's business.
mm,
So if you are minding other people's business and God's business, who is minding yours?
mm,
Who is minding your business? So much of it that you have. And I have just found that minding my own business is safer and it's much more effective for all the things I say I want for my life. Just staying on me, being mindful of how I am being and thinking and moving and living is so much work. And it's so much beautiful work that I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to let all those other people do whatever it is they're doing.
Exactly. And I mean, it really is when you start practicing that, when you start hearing that, when you start knowing it. I mean, it really is a daily thing. When you wake up in the morning, okay, how am I going to think? How am I going to act? How am I going to navigate? You know what I mean? Am I going to be negative? Am I going to be positive? I mean, just like in a relationship, you have to spend time with one another. Now,
Absolutely.
you can't just see each other on Christmas
Uh,
and be like, "Well, we have a wonderful relationship. I know everything about them." You don't. How do you know
you don't.
everything about them? So
You
it's the
don't.
same
You just
thing with
don't.
ourselves. We have to spend time with ourselves.
Absolutely. And it really is the most important relationship. And I think that goes without saying, but so many of us don't act like it, that you got to say it, that you're not going to, the quality of your relationships with others is going to reflect exactly the
Hmm.
quality of your relationship with yourself.
Mm.
Exactly. It's going to
You didn't
reflect
say that, did
exactly.
you?
Huh?
You didn't say that, did you?
That is correct. That's
Mm.
exactly. So call it a mirror. So call it a mirror, because your relationship with yourself. So if your relationship with you is disconnected, if you ignore you, if you put you on the back burner, your relationships with other people are going to look kind of like that.
Mm. Lord, you just broke some people's the whole theory. But that is so true because I know one time you know, I was getting a massage or something like that, and I was like having a pamper day, and I felt like the Lord said, you have to be doing this before your mate comes. You know what I'm saying? You can't wait on your mate to do these things for you. You have to set a precedence. You have to be doing these things so that you can tell him the things that you like and the things
And
that
why
you
they're important.
do.
Like
Yeah.
why they're important to you. Because you just sound like a brat. If you say you're here and you're supposed to do this, like for what? Can you explain the benefit to you? Well, no, I can't explain the benefit to me because I've never actually done it.
Mm, mhm. Mhm.
Well, no, 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 no. Because we are teaching people how to treat us by how we treat ourselves. We are absolutely teaching people how to treat us. So if you neglect you, you're saying to anybody looking on, neglect of you is perfectly fine.
Yeah, but it's not.
But it is absolutely not. But as we all can feel in our bellies, it is not fine.
Yes. And so tell me about the waist beads because that brought me to the waist beads, and I'm
Yes.
like, are what are they magical crystals? What's happening? Why do they help us in this stage of life and being mindful and just getting back to our core and so
Absolutely.
we can move forward.
A waist bead is an ancient African technology. So we use the word technology here at Alio very, very deliberately. So if you have an Apple Watch, or if you have a smartphone, or if you have any of these other sort of check your vitals apps and apparatus to sort of tell you lots of really important things about your body or your home, um, those all those devices do a lot of really important things conveniently. So my watch can tell me if somebody's texting me, sending me an email, calling me. It can check the weather. It can check my heartbeat. It can check my steps. A waist bead is like that. So it is all at once an adornment, which means it makes you feel really beautiful. It's a waist and weight management tool, a scale, and a mindfulness tool. So waist beads that are traditionally made are not elastic and they don't come off. They're permanent. So they don't have a clasp or some sort of, so they're tied onto your body. Now, when something is tied onto your body, your belly, and it's not elastic, of course, what it's going to do is tell you when your belly is expanding. It's going to tell that to you in real time, which is to say, bite, bite, bite. Most of us, when we're eating, we eat for so many other reasons than our bodies need food, that
Right.
we have lost the ability to experience how food is reacting in our bodies. We wear things that would let our belly stretch all the way from the chair to the door. So there's nothing constrictive about eating a whole pizza for a human being. There's no restriction in our mind, there's no restriction in our body. Well, when you put a waist bead on and then you tie it above your navel, you get a signal pretty quickly that the belly has had enough. If you obey that signal, you lose weight. I mean, it's just math. That part is just mathematics. Because your physical body is going to be full faster than your brain. Because really, sometimes your brain is just trying to eat till it's not sad anymore, or sometimes your brain is just trying to eat until it can finally go to sleep and stop thinking a million thoughts, or sometimes it's not going to be full until it's had the laugh that it needs to have that day, and that might not be coming for a whole hour and a half.
Wow.
So many things contributing to why we're eating, that the body's reaction to eating is the last thing that we be paying attention to. So
Mm-hmm.
when you have a waist bead on, the waist bead is like, nah, sis, but you're gonna have to do though, or I'm gonna choke you to death. You're gonna have to
Wow.
stop eating. I mean, and that really is it. So if there's an argument between you and the waist bead will win. The
Mm.
waist bead will win the argument, and you won't continue to ignore your body's signals to back away from the table. So that's the weight management piece of it. So the higher you tie the bead on the body, the faster that you get those signals. It's also like a scale. So of course, if I tie it 2 inches above your navel, and then you are obedient to the laws of your belly, the bead will begin to drop, like the numbers on a scale.
Hmm, okay.
And if you start acting up and doing whatever you want to do, the beads will begin to rise like the numbers on the scale. But because it happens in real time, you're never going to wake up again and be like, oh, 6 months ago I thought I could fit this and I can't. Because every
Right.
single time you eat, the bead is like, nah, it's not going to work. And so
Right.
you have to do that negotiation. You have to be present every day. You can't lose track of what you're eating for a week in a waist bead. It's just not going to happen.
Gotcha. Oh wow. That is so interesting.
Yes.
Oh
It,
wow.
it, it holds your hand and be's your friend.
Exactly. And it's like you said though, it's that daily thing, like I mean, I'm sure we've all had those moments like you said, we were upset, we came and got on the couch and before you know it, this whole bag of chips is gone or this
Gone,
whole
gone.
kind of ice cream. I didn't mean to eat all of that,
Right.
but I wasn't mindful. I
I
wasn't where
wasn't
my
I
feet
wasn't
were.
there. I wasn't there. I was not there. I was not where my feet were.
Hmm. So what's the difference in I see you have so many different types. Like is there something different about some of them or the
Yes.
coloring or
So yes. So the last component of waist bead wearing, mindful waist bead wearing, is the the energy. It's an energetic practice. It's an energy practice. So everything is energy. This glass is energy. It's just fast moving molecules. These scissors, just fast moving molecules. Your phone, whatever device you're watching this on, it's all the same stuff vibrating differently and so
Mhm.
presenting differently in the universe. These are laws. These are laws of nature. These are God's laws. Nothing anybody can say can make what I just said not true. So, with
Right.
that in mind, color is vibratory in the same way. Different colors vibrate differently, have different frequencies. So, if you think about it like music, the note A vibrates differently, which means it sounds differently than
Right.
note C, which is why those notes make you feel different when you hear them. And then when you put them together, they give you a different feeling. Color is exactly like that.
Mm.
So, if you are looking to tap into the energy of safety, stability, security, and you're looking to balance what with the popular parlance is balance that chakra, which basically what you're saying is, I want to pay attention to the energy of my first chakra, to my chakra that has everything to do with survival and stability and action. So I put a red waist bead around my waist, because when I put a red waist bead around my waist, the energy of that color begins to vibrate in and around me more strongly. So that's the difference. That's why you will see
Okay.
one all red waist bead or a red, black, and white, because somebody's looking to work with the energy of safety, stability, protection, grounding, and then drawing light and positive energy. So when you see the colors, it literally is, if you understand the language and the science, it's like reading a book. Like, I know what's happening with somebody, what's wrong with somebody, what somebody is trying to work on or balance by looking at the beads that they choose. And interestingly enough, when people come in and, I give them the instruction about how to process the colors. I give them a color map. They read that color map, see what things resonate with them, which basically means if I read something and it does something to my body, it makes my body tingle, it makes my eyes light up, it gives me a kind of inner knowing. That means, oh, that's for me. That whatever that energy is trying to get my attention by making me light all up. So I need to pay attention to that. Well, a lot of times when people come in and they, go through that exercise and then they go to pick the beads, they realize that the beads in their hand are exactly the same color as the clothes on their body, because we're always trying to do it. We
Really?
are. We're always trying to balance our energy, to call into our space, our orbit, the things that we'll need for the day, even when we don't know it, which makes knowing and being present to who and how you are so much more important. Because if you don't know that you're doing that, you could be calling in some stuff that really
Mhm.
ain't helpful for where you are.
Right. Oh wow, that's really interesting. It just I got several thoughts going on there, but yeah, I'm now more mindful of that. Like in the summertime,
Mm,
like with the colors I wear. Okay, today I want to wear this, or
yes.
today I need this yellow, or today I need white. But like if it's dreary day, white's not. I don't want to do white today. So all of this stuff is, and then even the talking about putting the different colors together, and then the notes when you were talking about it. Of course, there's the different notes on the piano, whatever instrument you're playing, and that one note is just that one note. But when you put those notes together, what you
Music.
come up with, that
So
music,
beautiful.
that melody, that feeling, just send me that whole rack back there.
The whole rack, the whole thing,
I'm trying to get everything together.
the
Send me the
whole
whole
thing.
rack. But that is one thing I wanted to ask about because, like, some days I do find like, and I don't, and again, we try to I think a lot of times we just try to self-diagnose ourselves. We say, "Oh, I'm just busy. This is why I don't have as much energy," or "I went to bed late. I didn't sleep well." Or "Why didn't you sleep well? What's going on?" You know what I'm saying? So we try to kind of ignore those things, blow them off, but there's a reason we're not sleeping well. There's a reason we're waking up in the middle of the night. There's a reason that we always feel tired. So, I was like, the energy, which ones are like for energy, because that's what I would like to like increase, like my energy. So if I came to you
Well,
and
so
said
so
that, what would you?
it's interesting. So what you seem to be talking about is vitality. So energy really is the movement of anything. So
Okay.
they all are energetic tools, tools that shift and shape and change and adjust your
Okay.
energy. So in that way, they're all energetic tools. So if you're talking about vibrance, vitality, I want to feel awake, I want to feel present. Those kinds of colors are, so like typically just speaking to that, that would be your sun energy. That would be the color yellow at your center, at your solar plexus. But sometimes we're not having balanced energy. We're feeling depleted. We're feeling lethargic. We're feeling like we don't really want to be activated because something is off balance. So you don't really want to use yellow if yellow is not the thing off balance. Sometimes we're feeling like that because our heart is closed, because our heart chakra
Mm,
is closed, and we're not vibrating with enough love and presence of the abundance around us, that it's literally dragging us down. So it really is important, because everybody need something different. That's just the truth. So when people come in here and
right.
they say to me, "Well, Josiah, what should I get?" Sweetheart, I have a hard enough time trying to figure out what I should get. Like, you really have to be okay with the responsibility of being present enough with you to know what you need. And everyone can be. Everyone is. Everyone is responsible for them. And so just listening, and maybe you won't feel like you got it all right today. Maybe you only need to work on one thing then. Maybe you need to work on the thing that showed itself to you immediately. And then you can come back and you can add and you can, subtract when you're done doing one thing and you want to turn your attention to something else. But oh, there's a hummingbird outside my window. But you definitely have to be, in order for this to be effective, because effectiveness, everybody is selling waist beads. So we're talking effectiveness at this point.
Right.
In order for this to be effective, it really has to be charged with the energy and the intention of the person wearing it. And when I say charged with it, you really have to stake your claim there. Like, I'm coming to this practice and tying this green bead around my waist because I want to be more open to the abundance that already exists in my life. I want to be able to see where God is making things grow so I can turn my attention to those things and watch growth. Because if I'm watching growth and I'm not watching lack, the energy of growth is becoming more expansive around me.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, things are going to feel barren if everything I'm looking at is barren. But as soon as I turn my attention to things that are in bloom, my energy becomes an energy tuned to bloom. So it is really all about where we are putting our attention and then intentionally doing that.
Right, right. And I wanted to bring up an example because sometimes again, we think we go get this one bead, or we're gonna get this array of colors and it's just gonna work. You
This
know,
life is going to be fixed
and that's it for the rest of our lives.
for the
No.
rest of your life. Till you 96 years old, you're going to fix these 3 problems you had today, and it's
Right,
all going to be cool. Like, we have to stop it. We have to.
right.
It would be so boring. It would be so boring.
Because today, I might just be looking for a job. A year from now, I might be dealing with the death of a parent. 2 years from now, I might be, really on the cusp of success, and it's like unknowing what the next steps are. So we have to be willing to revisit, to like you said, daily. Okay, what's happening today? What do I need today? You know,
Today.
today. Where are my feet today?
Today.
Girl, I'm gonna use you just blessed me on that one. Where are my feet at today? Let me get where my feet are.
Please.
Because if I
Please
can't
let
get with
me get
them,
my
I
feet up.
can't move them
Because
forward.
where your feet are, everything is fine. Everything is fine.
And I like
Like,
what you
check
said.
right now. Check right now. Whoever's watching this, listen to, check right now where
Okay.
your feet are. Is everything there cool? If you check 10 times a day, I bet it every time you check it, you're going to be cool. So much of the problem here.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Lord. And then we were saying even before, if we get out of here and stop creating more stuff that we got to navigate through, come on, get where your feet are. What's happening right now?
Yeah,
I
it's
love
it's it's
that.
helpful. It's helpful. It's a helpful tool. Because your feet are anchors. They literally are physical anchors. They anchor you to this planet, but they are spiritual, psychological anchors. They help you be like, oh no, right here. Let's stop right here.
Mm-hmm. And our health and wellness expert who comes on every first Monday, she talks about that. Take your shoes off sometimes. Go
Mm.
outside and let your feet touch the grass, touch the sidewalk, touch the dirt. You might not like it, but just for a moment, be grounded, in the earth, you know, and remember, because a lot of times if you're walking around on cement and you're like, oh, this hurts my feet. But what if you're getting some grass? What if you're getting something soft? What do it's, you just have to
And it's so
be.
and it's so strange because obviously for most of human history we've not had shoes on. So in this short amount of time, we have been able to program ourselves that our connection with the earth is troublesome. It's so bizarre.
Hmm.
But we got to come back because we cannot be disconnected from the ground beneath us. We cannot be. It's where we are.
Hmm. Lord, I hope everybody's just, getting what they need from this conversation today, because everybody, who's listening needs something different. So I hope everybody's getting what they need. And, I'm just really continually thinking that, even like gazing at the stars at night and stuff like that. When's the last time we went out and did that? You know, just being present, just being calm, not, run by our schedule, but we run our schedule. We don't let our schedules run us.
Right.
It's so much, but it's worth the work.
And you know what? It stops being work after a while. But in the beginning of
Yeah,
any job, you're gonna have to do the paces, you're gonna have to learn, you're gonna have to train. And then at some point you will get the hang of it. Just like you've gotten the hang of all these terrible habits. You will get the hang of some new and improved habits.
absolutely. I love this conversation. This is awesome. I think we could go another hour because I have so many questions. But we are going to stop right now. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're just going to, kind of just sum up the conversation,
Beautiful.
make sure we tell everybody where they can find your book, how they can follow you, where they can get the beads or more information. And so, everybody, stay tuned. We will be right back. I may have forgotten to tell Alan to have that prepared. So,
Oh,
but that's okay. Hey, where are my feet at? We're going to keep going.
yeah, listen, because this is where we are.
Because it's okay. But yeah, so tell everybody where they can find your book and the name of it again.
Awesome.
And
So all of our offerings are central to our web page, alio.net. That's ALAIYO.net. And so you can find our book there. Of course, you can find our entire waist bead catalog there. And then all of the offerings, all of the in-person offerings, as for me as a teacher. So I host a meditation, a morning meditation every weekday, guardian meditation. Right now it's on Instagram Live at 6. I want to say it's at 6 a.m. It is. It's at 6 a.m. every day on Instagram Live, 6 a.m. Pacific.
Pacific.
And then we have sunrise to sunrise silent meditation retreats. So that basically means that we get together from sunrise on one day. So let's say a Saturday, all the way till sunrise on Sunday. And we have no conversation. So there's no speaking, of course, but there's no reading, no writing, no music. We really are just dedicating time to being present with ourselves, even as we are in the midst of other people. And so you will be navigating other bodies and there will be other humans in the space. But your goal at the Sunrise to Sunrise Noble Silence Retreat is to really connect with you, to be present with you, to mind your own business. We provide meals there and beautiful spaces to be reflective or to rest or, whatever you need. Um, and then we have something called Holy Cartography, which is a 10-day meditative exploration into our inner mapping. Because again, sometimes our mapping has us going places that we're like, oh no, those instructions are not relevant anymore. I don't want to be following those instructions because I don't want to end up where those instructions take me. So we are following this 10-day meditation. It's the same meditation at the same time every day. But what we learn is that every experience is a new experience, because even though I've heard this meditation that I'm listening to right now maybe 15 times, every time I hear it, I hear something different because I'm a different person every time I show up to it. And recognizing that helps us to move along, to mature, to grow, to advance the game. So all of those things you can find at alio.net.
Okay. And so, I know that you are in California. So,
Yeah.
what if, some of the North Carolina listeners are listening to this? There are some of those things, maybe not the retreat, but some of those other things they can do virtually. Is that correct?
Yes, every morning it's called Guardian Meditation, and if you hashtag Guardian Meditation on Instagram, what you will see is a bunch of silhouetted boxes. That's me sitting in my meditation, and that's a unique space because what's happening is that I am channeling my meditation out loud. I'm saying out loud what is being said to me for me. So I am very clear that I'm making an offering that is designed for me. All of the information is God sent for me. But I'm
Mhm.
also a real person I'm a normal person. I'm not like some kind of special human being. And so some of the instruction that God gives me for me is useful to other people. So I say to them, take what is useful, leave the rest.
Right. And that's hashtag guardian meditation.
Guardian meditation, yes.
Okay. And that's every day.
That's every weekday, Monday through Friday, unless the
Okay.
holy cartography experience is going on. So I won't be back in that space until Thursday because
Okay.
our holy cartography experience is going on until Wednesday.
Okay. Okay.
And I can't be in two places at once yet.
Yeah. What? You can't? No, I'm
I
just
can't
kidding.
do it yet. Not yet.
Awesome. Well, I have truly enjoyed this conversation. I love it. You know, I just feel like that's what I'm here to do, make connections, make connections to information, to people, to channels, whatever. Because I mean, I've lived a life where I tried to please everybody. I tried to be there for everybody, and child just tore me down, wore me out, and I didn't even know who I was anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
not even gonna say I know everything now. I'm on that journey. And
Hmm.
while I'm on that journey, I want to share with other people because it's okay to be on that journey. It's okay that you did what you did. I mean, we make the best decision that we can in a
In
moment.
the moment. In the
But
moment.
now, like she said, if it's not serving you anymore, let's make another decision in this moment.
Absolutely. And that's how
Mm.
we get a different life. You know, so many people want a different life and they want to make the same choices they made yesterday. They want to say the same words they said yesterday. I'm like, well, how do you imagine that you're going to get a different experience out of the same language and out of the same movements?
Mm.
It is impossible to do. And so you have to decide, I'm going to do something different. I'm literally going to be somebody different. As uncomfortable as that might be in the beginning, it gets better.
Right, right. Because I mean, we don't know what that looks like, and a lot of times, like because we don't know, it's that
Because you
fear
don't
of
do
the
it.
unknown. But it's okay. It's really okay. Um, God has got us. There's, He knows every decision we're gonna make. He's got an avenue for us, a way of escape.
All of it, it's
We
all
have to,
there. And
yeah.
I'm a living testimony to that. Like, 5 years ago my life was a completely different life. Literally every single thing about my life 5 years ago was different.
Mm,
And then I just decided that I was going to do what God told me to do, and I was not going to worry about what other people was doing, and I wasn't going to worry about what other people thought about me doing what God told me to do. And right now I am more myself and happier than I've ever been in my life because I came here with me and no one else. So no
right.
one could know better for me than me. So if I'm listening, if I'm here, if I am in active relationship with the one who created me, I really cannot be told by a human being, oh, that's the wrong direction. No, sweetheart, miss me. Miss me. God love you, but miss me.
Right, right. I love that. I love that. And that brought me back to, you know, how does that little saying go? It says, wherever you go, you're gonna
There
take
you
yourself
are.
with you.
There you are.
There you
It
are. And
literally is the
so
book. It literally is that actual book by John Kabat-Zinn changed my life when I was in my 20s.
okay.
It just, like, it was so clear that I was the answer to all of it. If I did not get involved with who I was and who made me so that I could get on with what I'm supposed to do in that order,
Mm,
what was I doing? I was doing playing somebody else's role, doing somebody else's job, being somebody else's whatever. I'm like, you know what?
right.
I'm gonna go with me. I'm gonna go with being me, doing me. And then I'm gonna let the people who are uncomfortable with that, maybe that's their lesson, how to deal with discomfort. That might be
Mm,
what God got you doing today. Because
right. Right.
I don't know. I
Right.
only know what God has me doing today.
Mm. Whew. Put your cash app there up there, girl, so we can send you an offering.
Little offering. It is
Because
$ Josiah Madden if you want to give a little offering.
dollar sign
No, but I'm
Josiah Madden.
Josiah Madden.
Madden.
You know what? I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to be able to be in this place and say these things with as much clarity and surety as I have because I know that I'm a regular person. I'm I before anybody out in this universe knew who I was already 40 years old. Like I've been a real regular black woman going to work every day and raising her family forever. So
Right.
when I say to you, you can change your life by changing your mind and changing your speech, I mean that literally.
Right.
I mean
Right.
that literally.
Exactly. And I definitely want to, and I think this conversation is so important because there are people who have had traumas that are real traumas. There are people who have been raped. There are people who have been abused. There are things that you have been through, but you don't have to continue to let those thoughts and those actions dictate your life. You can reframe who you are. You can reframe your thoughts about, what happened, and you are victorious. It
Absolutely.
doesn't matter the words that the other people said over you. What matters is what you say over you.
That's it. That really is it. And you can even stay in your trauma. You can do whatever you want to do. Know you're doing it.
Right, right,
Some people have things that they need to keep because it forms who they are. It is the reason why they're in the relationships they're in. It is the reason why they have the job they have. So if they step out of that, if they peel that skin off, then maybe they won't fit in those spaces anymore. All I'm saying is understand that you are where you are because you are choosing to be there, which is
mm,
perfectly fine. And then you can know I was so freed when I realized, oh, I'm here because I keep speaking to this. Which means if I say something else, I could be like instantly, like magic. Like I could be somewhere else if I just start speaking in a different way. So I remember one year, I'm not a New Year's resolution kind of person, but one year I decided anytime somebody asks me how I am, I'm going to say spectacular. I'm going to say something big, like
mm-hmm.
wonderful, spectacular, extraordinary. Surely that was 10 years ago. I do it still to this day automatically. And my whole life reflects the fact that I decided that it was going to be extraordinary.
Yes, yes.
And it's going to take the time it takes, but there will be some immediate impact. But listen, no matter how much time it takes, you're going to do the time. You could do it miserable or you could do it how you want
Extraordinarily.
extraordinarily.
I love
Absolutely.
it. Awesome. Well, make sure you go to Josiah's website. That is alio.net, the
Yes.
ALAIYO.net. And just stay present. Stay where your feet are. Okay?
I love
Because
it.
that's where the impact will be made. Listen to your body and what your body needs, what your mindset needs. Be present and make decisions for yourself. Josiah, before we go, any last words of encouragement or last, just anything that you want to leave with the audience? Your last few words.
You know what? I would tell people that they know. You know what you need. Be encouraged by the fact that God would not send you here uninstructed. So know
Mm.
that if you tap in, if you sit still, if you be quiet, if you commit to being present and listening, the answer is in there.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today. I am so appreciative. And anytime you have something that God lays on your heart, you're like, I think I have a message for the people, whatever, you're welcome here. And,
Oh, good.
I don't know, a workshop or something. We got to do some more stuff together for
I like
sure.
it. I like
So
it.
thank you again. That is Josiah Madden. Alio.net is the website. Dollar sign Josiah Madden is her cash app. And everybody, thank you so much. We appreciate your support here at Making Connections. And I know that we're evolving and I had to be where my feet are, even in this program. Because there's so much that I see, but I had to be able to get there. So I appreciate you for being with us where we are and for staying with us for where we're going. And so until next time, you guys know we're here every Saturday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time and every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Go to our Facebook page, like the page, share, turn on your notifications so you know when the show
Yes.
goes live. And until next time, as always, we're leaving you with love, positivity, and good vibes. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you, Josiah.
Bye. Bye. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye bye.